living that life. We just living that life. Talking plies, living that life. We just living that life. You're listening to the Living That Life Digital Nomad Podcast. Hit the subscribe button on iTunes if you're a boss, and check out the YouTube channel for dope travel videos. Let's get it.
Yo, testing 1 2 1 2. Welcome back to Living That Life Podcast. Guys, it's been a minute. I'm here in Turkey right now, escaping COVID, and I have the one and only, some of you guys might know him from YouTube, Mike Corey of Fearless and Far.com and his YouTube channel, Fearless and Far. Over 300K subscribers, going strange places, to crazy festivals, unique experiences. When it comes to action-packed, crazy adventure, like thrilling travel porn, I call it, this is the guy to subscribe to. So search on your phone right now, Fearless and Far, and go subscribe to this motherfucker on YouTube. He's doing some crazy ass shit that I am jealous of, and I want to do more of this stuff. So fearlessandfar.com is his website, and yeah, he's an overall travel beast, and his big thing is like helping people overcome fear, put yourself in positions that frighten you, be a better you, and live life fullest. So, Mike, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I need to hire you as my hype man or something. That was an amazing intro.
Yeah. Happy to do it, man. You're pumping me up with your video here on the website. So let's just jump right into it. I'll read the just a little further intro. Your background is a marine biologist, and you also are on a travel show on the BBC called The Travel Show. And so
it's called The Travel Show. Plain and simple.
Yeah, he's got that. So check that out, guys. Here's his Instagram, Fearless and Far. He has traveled all around the world. So yeah, if you guys follow me from the travel vlogs, this guy is next level. So yeah, so most of my audience, I was telling you, is like aspiring digital nomads. People who, want to travel the world, want to live this, type of life that is, now possible because of, laptops and the internet. So we were talking before the recording, like what's your kind of tips and tricks for people who, they want to live the life like us, filled with travel and adventure, but they're not quite there yet. What's kind of your tips and motivation going?
Yeah, man. Well, I've been in this game for 10 years. Like back then, it was very different than it is now, but the principles still stay exactly the same. And the alias online for me is Fearless and Far, not because I am fearless, but because most of my life I was very fearful, and slowly through travel and jumping out there and doing these things, sometimes forcefully, or life kind of throwing crazy circumstances at me, I learned that fear is a major contributing factor in why people don't realize their dreams, right? So for me, I'm not fearless, but I really enjoy fighting them. And that's what my career has been, and my YouTube has been, is finding these things that scare me and then jumping into them. And one of those things for me, the main thing since I was a kid, was public speaking. I had a public speaking phobia growing up until I was like 20. And that's my job now. So I've seen both sides. I know what it's like to I'll be like blackout terrified in front of a group. And I know what it's like to be on international television on the BBC in front of like 330 million households the program goes out to. So for me, I love speaking about that, because I realized in my life, fear was this thing that I think people associate with more like these phobias, snakes and heights and things. But the reality is there's fears in your normal everyday life that don't yell at you as much. They're quiet fears. There's things like fear that you're not good enough, fear of being in the spotlight, all these small things that then make you second guess yourself and your potential. And ultimately that's the thing that holds you back from becoming a digital nomad or an entrepreneur or whatever else. The great things that are in the future for some version of yourself, you're not letting yourself get there because of these little doubts and in your mind, which is all fear, right?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And, me being in, kind of the digital marketing space, make money online space, because that's the ticket to be able to travel. If you can work from a laptop, boom, now you're unlocked. The world is your oyster now.
Yeah.
One of the most common, comments and questions I get is, no one around me gets it. Like, everyone around me just wants to do, the standard plan, the get a job, get married, settle down, buy a house, have kids, repeat the process. And they're like, they're in maybe a corporate environment. And they're like, no one around me, I can relate to. So it's like, really the biggest fear, I guess, is, making that jump, and
Well,
kind
do you
of
know why
being on your
everyone
own.
around you? I
Uh-huh.
I love that. I love that argument, because one thing I learned as soon as I left my small little hometown in Eastern Canada is everyone else out who's doing this thing is not still in your hometown. They're not. They're out. They're out fucking doing it. Like, they're already out there in the ethos, but just doing it all. And so, of course, there's no one around you at that time, because they've all gone. They're already out there doing it, and everyone else who chose not, who has buts and ifs and ands and I'm not sures, they're all still back there, following the pattern that everyone tells them that they should follow. And for some people that makes them happy. I used to judge people who chose that. Like, how can you actually be happy without traveling and seeing your options? But at the end of the day, if you're happy with that, great. Unfortunately, I think for some of us, we're cursed with this desire to explore, this curiosity. And for our ultimate happiness, we've got to get out there. But you're not going to find people like that around where you are. They're going to be out there on the road. And I know for yourself, you said you spend a lot of time in Bali, man. You go there, you find people who've gone out there, and you're not going to see the people who second guess travel and solo travel. And you're going to find people who are actually living it. So you have to find a new community outside of the community that's telling you not to do it. Solo travel is dangerous. Don't start your own company. It's a bad idea. Because at the end of the day, that's the first level holding you back from achieving the potential. And those are their fears, man. I think everything involves fear. These people are trying to infect you with their fears, their doubts, the things they're self-conscious about, and they're trying to give them to you like advice. But the reality is they don't have any experience doing it. So why are you listening to a baker giving you car advice? It doesn't make any sense, right? The people out there who know what to say and know what it's like are already out of your hometown, or already aren't in your circle. They're out there. You just got to go meet them. And once you get a circle with those people in there, you'll grow. But the second you have all these other people holding you back, it makes you feel like you can't do it, because they're telling you can't do it. And it takes either an extraordinary life circumstance or a disaster to shake your foundation enough to do something crazy to then finally go out and do it. Right. That was my circumstance. I would never have done this if life didn't uppercut me a few times and get me to do crazy things, which was actually following the things that I knew I loved. But when you're from a small town in Canada or anywhere in the world, there's not a lot of people thinking outside of that small town.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I want to get into kind of what was your kind of shaking foundation, but I'm going to go ahead and drop my tips on the listeners now that's kind of been sharing, because it's my story. Is I say one of the biggest life hacks for me was just take a quote unquote a short vacation, because for me it was just a trip to Thailand. And in 2013, they kind of caught me the travel bug. So do that short trip. I recommend more than 2 weeks. I recommend at least 3 weeks for people, because 2 weeks is the TOOWEAK, a quote from the 4-Hour Workweek. 2 weeks is always too weak for any trip abroad. But so do that trip abroad. Do not be afraid, especially if you're young. You're like, do it, right after high school. Like, freaking do it while you are young. When you're in high school, just freaking do it. And don't go to the freaking Hawaii. Don't go to Europe. Like, go somewhere where they don't speak your language. Go like Asia, South America, Africa. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? India. So there's that. Do that short trip, a month ideally if you can. And the other thing that was a hack for me was go to have an excuse. Go to a conference abroad. So it was my excuse to go to this digital marketing conference, this e-commerce conference in Thailand in 2014 that blasted my whole career off. So that's a huge life hack that I want to share with you guys is whatever you're interested in, whether it's digital marketing or not, whether it's engineering or programming, like search for conferences around the world and pick one in the most far away place and go to that conference, and you can tell your parents and your friends and everyone, oh, I have an excuse because I'm going to this conference, I'm going to learn, I'm going to network, blah, blah, blah. So, and then you get that travel abroad experience. Again, stay for at least 2 weeks if you can, travel around the region. But yeah, it comes down to having an excuse. I've found that makes it a lot less fearful, which leads into you had that quote unquote excuse or that life situation that kind of shook your foundation that led you to get into this. So yeah, what was that for you that kind of led you to blast off?
Yeah, well, let me cut in for a quick second. Those are some really good tips. I'd never recommended the conference thing, but in my life, that was one of the very first things that solidified it for me. Again, being able to surround yourself with people who have quote unquote made it, or varying degrees of that, to see the path, to hear their story, see what they've done, be like, oh, actually, you know what, this is possible. And once you see some data points of possible, then you feel like it's more possible again. Then you go back home and it's like your lens is cracked. It's been reforged into something better. You see a better perspective on the world, right? So my story, it's been a few things in my life that have twisted this guy who was afraid to speak publicly into a person who does it professionally. But the main thing in the beginning was I was just graduating university. I had a biology degree, which was I love biology. I've always been a curious guy. I grew up next to the ocean on the east coast of Canada, and it's gorgeous there. It's just a bit cold, and I had an opportunity to go travel to Indonesia as a research assistant. So again, kind of the same idea. I wasn't just going to party on Chaos Sound Road. There was a purpose. Everyone close to me understood I was going to be a field assistant with actual scientists in a different place. But I was terrified, man, because it was literally the other side of the planet. I didn't know what they spoke. I didn't know what they ate. I didn't know who was going to be there. And when you're used to living in where you grew up or someplace in your country, you know how it works. But something terrifying in the beginning is just not knowing how anything works. Your foundation doesn't exist because you have nothing to set it on. And so for me, I was like, I don't know if I want to go. And then what happened is life did a 1, 2, 3 uppercut punch to me, where I had a really bad breakup. I had a close family member pass away, a grandparent, and I had a car crash. Boom, boom, pow. And that made me just want to go. I didn't know what I wanted, but it shook me so much that I just needed something different, because obviously things weren't paradise for me then. And I had a buddy, and we fundraised for a while, and we're like, yeah, screw this, man. Let's go to the other side of the world. And then he flaked on the last day after I paid the deposit. So I had to go on the plane by myself, and I almost didn't get on. But I did. And I remember being so scared going over there, again, not knowing anybody, the language, going to an island off an island in Wakatobi, Indonesia, which is just the middle of nowhere. And it ended up being the best thing ever to happen in my life. There was no running water. There was no mirrors. We were diving 3 times a day, scuba diving. Everyone was filthy and dirty. We all showed up with like gelled hair and like nice fingernails on day 1, and on day 65 we were just like hobos. But it was cool because it peeled back all these exterior layers, right? Because we all present ourselves. We have to, in this modern world, present ourselves in a nice fancy way. But the people who relied on that too much were stripped bare to their core, and if they hadn't done enough work on the inside, they weren't the cool kids anymore. Whereas the cool kids were the ones who actually, had skill, balance, and could do stuff. And because of that exterior just all melted away when you can't even groom yourself, and you're always dirty and itchy. So it reconfigured how I saw the world. And I came back and then got addicted to traveling and found all these like budget experiences and was able to do it. But it took, again, this kind of pseudo way in with school, in my case, to be able to meet all these other people who have been living this way for a long time, and me being like, oh my God, I've been missing out. But I had no references for that where I was from. Nobody was a world traveler. I didn't know a single person. And the people you see online are they seem untouchable. They seem like they're superheroes or celebrities, even though if there's an average person like you and I, when you see someone online, it's not real. You have to meet someone in person, and that's what that was. And so from there, I was able to travel more. And then how the video thing came around is I was in Utila doing a dive master internship on this like party island / dive master paradise, an island above Honduras. And I was there for 3 months, and I was moving this table anyway, bent my toe up and got flesh-eating disease that put me on a couch back in Canada for 4 months. And again, in that crazy mindset of doing something that was just so uncharacteristic, I made a video talking about travel and how I liked it, because I was double dared by a friend of mine. And then that eventually turned out into a career, but it was like 10 years of beating at it with a blunt instrument and not being a natural. And I think one of the biggest gifts of my life is not being a natural at anything I do now. And that might sound weird and crazy, but the thing is, if you're not naturally gifted at it, you're more self-conscious about getting good at it. So you'll overwork becoming better. And if you work harder than the person who's naturally gifted at the ability, you'll become better than them. And that's simply what happened to me. Is I knew this was an area of my life that I absolutely had to improve. And I was rocked so hard by the second event in my life that I just decided to take public speaking classes and suck at them, and then do 47 takes saying my name on camera and suck at it. But hey, if you use one take, people are like, oh, you're a natural. You're so good at it. They don't see the 46 other takes and the one that you cried on earlier. They just see the one take that looks good, and they assume you did it first try, right? So I kind of cheated my way into it for a while. Anyway, do that for long enough, and here I am. So it was a lot of practice, man. And again, I was scared of it in the beginning, but fear doesn't have to be something that holds you back. It can just be a voice of reason or something else, of friction, but it's up to you to decide whether or not to do it. And the thing about being fearless is I think the misunderstanding about fear is that some people are fearless and they don't feel fear, when reality is, it doesn't matter if it's a bungee jumper or a squirrel suit skydiver or like a pop star. People feel fear. Like Rihanna was very famous for talking about how she always used to get almost sick to her stomach before going on stage. Or there's a guy, Jeb Corliss, who's a very famous squirrel suit skydiver, a base jumper. And he always talked about, I always get scared before I jump. I always do. But I just choose not to listen to it. I know I'm going to be okay. It's like advice from this ghost that's trying to hold you back. And you're like, cool, I know, but I got this, right? So for me, that's what it was, being able to change my relationship with that feeling, and then eventually turn a fear into a career.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So on the screen now, if it's all synced up, there's
this is, I had to just pull this up because it's just perfect going with what you're with what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, you're in this underground or sunken plane. That's fucking awesome.
That's actually that's in Turkey. That's in Turkey.
No way.
Not far from where you are now. Yeah.
Nice. I'm about to go dive in. That was great tips, guys. As I say, find an excuse to do what you want, because another fear is how do I, are my family or my friends are they going to accept me or whatever? And at the end of the day, if you're too afraid of what other people are going to think to do what you want, then you really don't want it bad enough. That's just the honesty. But hey, if you want to make it a little bit easier, find an excuse, whether that's a study abroad program that actually was huge for me, because my best friend did a study abroad in Thailand, which actually led me to visit. So study abroad, conference, post on Facebook, yo, who wants to go visit XYZ continent? Get a freaking travel buddy, get someone who else is fired up, surround yourself with people that are like-minded. And, even if there's no one in your city, join Facebook groups. Look on meetup.com. Maybe there's meetups for people that are, whatever, world travelers or whatever it is that you're into or want to do. Utilize these digital connections. It's the easiest that it's ever been in history to connect with like-minded people. We have forums, we have Reddit, we have Facebook groups, we have meetups.
So easy now.
All these things. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's literally no excuse nowadays to not pursue your freaking dreams and do it, guys. Like, we're so freaking spoiled. This is the first generation in history that we have these digital connectors. So yeah, that's my rant on that. But so, as you guys know, people who are still listening, you know that I love courses. I have my own courses. I love the education revolution. And Mike just said he came out with, well, it's launching actually like right now, like this week. You guys can check the link below if it's officially open. But he made a course on freaking how to overcome fear. He made a course about all this stuff that we're talking about. So check it out, link below. It's basically free, guys. Like, it's on the order of like, 50 or $50 or something, or like $67, guys. Basically free. So if you're resonating with all this, freaking go and get this guy's course. It's basically going to be diving deep into all of these tips and tricks, what you're going to learn, how to create confidence, understanding the hero technique, six questions of change. Yeah, I guess, expand on the course a bit. What's it all about and what's inside?
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier in the podcast, I've had a pretty wild adventure, and I know it's not natural to want to walk into fear. And fear is, if we're anything about it, it's something to run away from, right? It's something that's bad and you want to go away, and that's very natural. That's just the natural human programming. But the thing is, anybody who's ever achieved anything great on this planet has looked fear in the face when fear has come knocking and said, "You can't, gonna have," even though their hearts now. Go to in the middle of Mexico, underwater, very things that made me most. For 10 years, I have been doing the things that scared me most. So it's taken me all over the planet to train hop in West Africa, to bury myself in sand for 24 hours, to learn how to breathe fire, free diving, scuba diving, skydiving, all these things, because I realized a while ago that these small fears in my life, I can't let them bully me around. And so the idea with the course is because I've really learned how to make fear my friend. And when it jumps in my brain to say yes, it's almost like a fear compass to dive into those things. And I understand it's not easy, but I know from a fact, because I'm standing here today and we're doing this podcast, that there's an alternate version of that's still in his mom's basement playing video games, right?
Yep.
And the only difference between those two people is that I chose to walk into my fears and do the things that scared me most. And that's what this course is about. The course is about showing people how, first of all, the course is about understanding fear, because we don't ever really talk about why or how. And then it's about using certain techniques that I picked up over the years by practice, by trial and error, by reading books, by actually experiencing things and putting them into effect. All of the best and most effective techniques to get unstuck in life and to give fear a big FU and put a war on it, because it needs to be a war. Fear will fight back. Every big decision in your life that's going to change life for the better, fear's going to step in and tell you not to do it. You have to learn how to go to war with that feeling and do it anyway. That's what the course is about.
Fuck yeah, dude. I fucking love this. So yeah, go check it out, guys. Link's gonna be below, wherever you're seeing this. Go follow Mike on Instagram, Fearless and Far, on YouTube, Fearless and Far. He is doing some extraordinary shit. Yeah, go give him a follow. And I almost was just that was so good. I mean, what else do you need to know, guys? Like, freaking ain't nothing to it but to do it. If you're struggling with like fear, this is the guy. He's got the course on fear. If you're feared of making that jump, of what people are gonna think of travel, and the fear of unknown really is the greatest fear. the fear of unknown. We have little micro fears of unknowns every single day. Like I like even my day, like I sometimes I don't even know where I'm going to work, what cafe I'm going to work at, or what Airbnb I'm going to be in next week. And it's like, oh, it's micro fears of unknowns. But just like embracing the fear, I feel like if we can get comfortable with these little fears of unknowns, if you can really learn to master these fears, I think life just unlocks, and you're going to be able to live life to the max. I think this is a huge part of the philosophy of life. Freaking facing your fears. There you go. That's your thing right there. Chase your fears. Chase your fears.
That's it, man. That's it. And with the course, I'll make you love the feeling. I guarantee it. There's a 60-day guarantee that you're going to love fear by the end of the course. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, I just want to help. I like I said, I feel like I've unlocked something special, and I just want to share that with as many people as I can, and that's what the course is.
Yep, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I have my courses as well, so I love the education revolution. YouTube is it's good, but for really diving deep into some of the stuff, courses are perfect. So very, very reasonable price, guys. Just go check it out. So I guess to kind of to wrap it up, what's next for you? What are you working on right now? What are your next adventures? And for people who are going to be new subscribers and followers, what should they check out, and what do you got coming up?
Yeah, so I'm in Romania now. I'm going to be launching a video that'll be live once you publish this, about solo camping in an abandoned castle. There was this amazing just tower of stone on a mountaintop that I brought a tent up to, and despite legends of ghosts throwing tourists off the top, was able to solo camp on top of it. It's not launched yet. It's going to launch tomorrow. And then actually I'm heading to Turkey. Nice. So I might see you in Turkey, man. I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be here for another couple weeks. We'll see. I'm kind of just like playing it how it goes. And then we'll be bouncing Bali. Dope. So, oh yeah, on that Bali note, I did want to get into that 1 second. What was that place? What are some, because I have a lot of Bali videos, what are some hidden gems that people should check out in Bali when they visit?
Yeah, well, I mean, my travel style can be a bit not for everybody, but there's some places like, for example, Trunnion Cemetery. I made a video about a couple of years ago, and Trunnion Cemetery has a beautiful story of this lone traveler. Again, this is like 1,000 years ago, traveling across Bali, walking and smelling this beautiful smell and trying to follow it, finding himself on a bank of a lake where he found this beautiful girl in a village and 100 other people all just loitering around trying to find the source of this beautiful smell. And it was a tree on an island in the lake that apparently is the only tree in the world that smells this way. And all of these people were loitering around trying to get to the tree. And so the guy fell in love with the girl and wanted to marry her. And she said, I'll only marry you if you get everybody out of the town. And so what he had to do is to get the tree to stop from smelling. So what he discovered is if you place dead bodies under the tree, it cancels out the smell of the bodies and cancels out the smell of the tree. So now, to this day, for thousands of years, the villagers of Trunnion still put their dead bodies open face underneath this magical tree that's supposed to be only one of in the entire world.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just searched it on
Crazy,
your
right?
channel.
And that's in Bali.
And okay, go check it out. And boom, you have the video that people need to check out right now. I'll throw it in a link in the description. Top 5 best hidden secrets of Bali. I actually need to watch this myself.
Yeah, this
dope.
There's some weird stuff there, man. But
sick.
Also, it's
okay,
you got lots. There's things for everybody
videos
there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go check this out. Yeah, guys, check them out on YouTube. So you release like 2 videos a week?
Yeah, well, mostly about one a week right now. But yeah, I go for 2 a week normally.
Cool. Yeah, I like 1 a week and stuff. Sweet. Well, Fearless and Far, check it out. Yeah. hit me up if you come to Turkey, and then we'll do a little follow-up video. Sweet.
Sounds great, man.
Living that life. We just living that life. Talking plies, living that life. We just living that life. You're listening to the Living That Life Digital Nomad Podcast. Hit the subscribe button on iTunes if you're a boss, and check out the YouTube channel for dope travel videos.